In a quiet village called Ika in southern Nigeria, where red sand roads stretched under the hot sun and palm trees danced with the wind, there lived a young girl named Abigail. Abigail was not like the other girls in the village. She had no father, no mother. Death had taken them both when she was still very small. The only family she had left was her grandmother. But home was not a place of comfort. Her grandmother was bitter with life. Every morning before the cock crowed, Abigail would fetch water from the stream, sweep the compound, wash plates, and prepare for school. If she made the slightest mistake, harsh words and sometimes blows would follow. "Useless girl, you want to eat my food and waste my money?" her grandmother would shout. Yet Abigail endured it all quietly. After school, while other children played, Abigail would carry a tray of pure water and sliced watermelon on her head, walking under the scorching sun, calling out, "Cold pure water, sweet watermelon." Her feet would ache. Her uniform would cling to her sweaty skin, but she kept going because she had a dream. She wanted to finish school. She wanted a life different from the one she was born into. Sometimes when the day ended and she counted her small profit, she would smile to herself. It was not much, but it was hope. Among those who noticed her was a young man named John. John was from the same village, hard-working and kind-hearted. He often bought watermelon from her, not because he was thirsty, but because he admired her strength. "Abigail," he once said softly, "one day your suffering will turn to joy." She only smiled shyly. She had no space in her heart for dreams of love. Survival came first. One evening changed everything. Abigail returned from school earlier than usual. As she approached the hut, she heard her grandmother's angry voice speaking with a stranger. Before she understood what was happening, her grandmother accused her of stealing money from the house. Money Abigail had never seen. Without listening to her pleas, the old woman beat her mercilessly and dragged her outside. "Leave my house. Since you are grown, go and feed yourself." Abigail fell on the dusty ground, crying. That night she slept outside, hugging herself against the cold. It was the lowest moment of her life. Fate, however, had not finished writing her story. A few days later, while selling watermelon near the roadside, a car stopped. It was unlike any car that had ever entered Ika, sleek and expensive. Out stepped a tall, calm young man named Tundi. Tundi was not from the village. He was a university graduate who had returned from the city to invest in agriculture. He was educated, wealthy, and soft-spoken. He bought all her watermelon that day, but what caught his attention was not her beauty. It was the sadness behind her smile. Over time, he learned her story. The orphan girl, the cruel grandmother, the long days under the sun. Something in him softened. He helped her rent a small room. He paid her school fees. For the first time in her life, Abigail experienced kindness without insult attached to it. She blossomed. Her laughter returned. John watched from a distance. He was happy for her, though a small ache lived in his chest. Love crept in quietly between Abigail and Tundi. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was gentle, like rain after drought. One night, under the quiet stars of Ika, Abigail cried in Tundi's arms. "No one has ever treated me like I matter," she whispered. "You matter to me," Tundi replied. That love changed her life forever. Soon, Abigail discovered she was pregnant. Fear wrapped around her heart at first. Would history repeat itself? Would she raise a child the way she was raised? But Tundi did not run. Instead, he knelt before her. "You suffered enough alone," he said. "You will not suffer again." He took her to the city. He introduced her proudly as the woman he loved. He built a better life around her, not because she needed saving, but because she deserved peace. Years later, Abigail would sit on a balcony, holding her child, remembering the days she walked barefoot under the burning sun, selling watermelon to survive. She remembered the insults. She remembered the hunger. She remembered sleeping outside in the cold. And she would smile, not because the pain was small, but because she survived it. John eventually married a good woman in the village. The grandmother, left alone, grew old and quiet, perhaps haunted by regret. As for Abigail, she learned something powerful. Sometimes the saddest beginnings create the sweetest endings, from an orphan girl in Ica to a loved wife and mother. Her story became proof that even in the deepest suffering, hope can still find